Alright, so far we have the navigation mesh done, right? And the character is moving around. The next thing would be to make the navigation mesh visible, because we don't draw it yet. We just assume that it's there. So the first step would be to implement the debug plugin that displays the navigation mesh, and then to continue with the obstacles. So yeah, probably we'll be able to do all of that today. And I guess like a short summary of how the navigation mesh works is that we have a terrain and we add this navmesh component to it, so it becomes a navmesh. Right, this one, you create a mesh. Right now we can create it from a bevy mesh, so it's really simple to do that. Then we have the agent, which I guess this bundle describes the agent the best. It needs a parent, which is a navigation mesh, like which navigation mesh we are using for this agent. Then we need a position, which is the current position of the agent, and the speed. And this is like a walking agent. And then if we add the target to our agent, it computes a new path, it removes the target, and then it starts to walk towards that target. And I mean, it has a couple of other private fields, like the waypoints that it generates, the status if it reached or it didn't reach the current waypoint, and the current waypoint. So that's pretty much how the navigation is done. And I wanted to implement now the I guess debug plugin. So I'm just gonna say we create this module called debug only if we have the feature debug enabled. I think that's how you write it. And yeah, basically I just want to draw like some stuff. For example, draw the lines between the navigation mesh path of the agent. I think that's a good point. And probably the lines that build the navigation mesh. So let's create some functions, right? So first one would be display agent path, right? First function. So we need a query agents, let's say. Okay, I mean, anyway, so you have a query of agents, right? We need, well, we would need a transform though, but well, I guess, yeah, we would need a transform, right? At least the transform of the navmesh. So let's say we'll need the parent, the position, not necessarily the target, but rather I'd say that we need the path. And I have to remember, do I, when I do pop front, okay, yeah, so we need both the current and path, because whoa, and navmesh agent path. So it's like current is the current target, and then path is the rest. So let's use, okay, right, so I have the agents, we need navmesh, right? What else? I guess well, if we go to examples to see, like, no, I'd say gizmos probably is a good bet here. Okay. So now we can reuse some stuff. Strange, I thought I had a place. It's somewhere here, but oh yeah, it's actually this one that I can use like this. Let's copy the entire thing. Okay, so like let's do a for loop through the agents. So parent, position, current, so this is current, navmesh, agent path, so the rest of the path, and we iterate the agents. Then we take the current navmesh, that works, and okay, if we find a navmesh, then it's fine. And yeah, here I would say that we might need a transform, because we kind of want to convert the navmesh agent's position to the real world position, so that should be done with a transform here. So let's say that we need a transform with a navmesh, right? So, and this is a transform that needs to be used, so it's not really the transform, well, I guess could be like the transform of the agent, but if we do transform point with this guy on our position, I would assume that I mean, we'll have to see, but I would assume that it's gonna be right. Let's do some like gizmos just to see. So we are gonna have, what is this ground thing? Groundbreaking global transform. Well, no, maybe it makes more sense to use global transform, but right, so we are gonna have, like, this is ground, so transform up, right, and point is gonna be, I'd say transform dot transform point, and here I would use position. So, oh, but this is, should work if we extend it with 0 0 and xy this b. Okay, transform, maybe it's gonna work. Let's do blue, I think a radius. Let's do a radius of 2.0 just to see if it's going to show up. And let's do also plugin, so public nav mesh debug plugin. Well, I was close, but pull plugin for navmesh. Okay, so this would be just add systems instead of update display that thing, right? And do we have a plugin here? We kind of do. So I would say config if feature is debug, then we add systems, or I guess we add plugin navmesh debug plugin, right? And let's put it up here. Oh, where is, okay, here. We also need to feature equals to debug. Okay, I think I need to say features debug. Not sure though, but okay. Oh, yo, it fucking works. I mean, that's insane though. The fact that it worked first try, that's, you know, it could be known as bad juju, because something, now, you know, we extracted and like we extracted first compile, or I guess first run, first try energy from another thing, and now the thing that would have run first try, it's not gonna run first try, it's gonna be like fifth time. It's not even that when you take, you know, the thing, it's not 1-to-1 ratio, it's like exponential. The more you get it first try, the, oh my god, it's gonna suck real bad when we get to the thing that we stole the energy from. So oof, that's gonna suck. Okay, anyway, let's leave the, okay. So I mean, you know, we get this thing, right? And obviously it makes sense to display it only when we have current and path, because we remove the current and path when we don't path find. So that's fine. But instead of drawing a circle, I'd like to draw actually a line. So let's put here 0, 1, right? And I think that this is gonna be the height. Right, so I'm just thinking, how can we draw the line between current, or I guess between position, okay, fair enough. So the next one would be current, which I think, so this is gonna be position, then we have current, which funnily enough is the same thing. And I think we could make them mutable. We could make them mutable. Like, I want to make a for loop that draws the line and then advances current to being position, or I guess position to being current, and current to being the next thing in the list. That's how I think about it. So let's draw a line or some shit, a line, and we give it 2 points and the color. So position, current and the color. Let's see. Let us see. It's gonna be a line. Yo, it's a fucking line. Okay, perfect. So now, I mean, it already works because the path is always gonna be empty for us, since we don't have any obstacles. But once we do have obstacles, holy shit, I hope it's not that one, that it's gonna have bad juju, so, because we haven't tested what happens with obstacles. Anyway, let's do a for point in path.iter, right? So we get all the points, right? I would say that we need to do position is equal to current, and current is equal to kind of this thing, but here point, and then we draw a line again. Is that all? I think it is. Alright, like, of course it works because we don't have any like obstacles to make the line have shapes, but yeah. I mean, sure, fair enough, whatever. So we have some kind of debugging for the agent path, but I'd like to have a debug, so which I saw nice debug in the original repo, let's say, that I just re-implement because why not? Well, should be anywhere, like it's like debug, and it's I forgot how mesh visibility. Oh, navmesh display or something. But yeah. So we could do navmesh to wireframe mesh. The fuck is this shit? I guess this would be like a util function, so now we can copy it and put it in our debug section. Maybe we can even impl. Ooh, but I don't think we can impl for this because it's, yeah, I literally don't understand Rust impl extern struct, like why is it an error? Whatever, anyway, so let's copy this thing, and I mean, you know, the easiest way would be have this. Oh, self mesh. Inverse fucking turn. What the fuck is this shit? Let me see what. Oh, so it's for navmesh. I mean, it needs a transform. so it kind of needs a transform and a mesh. I mean, it makes sense, right, to have a transform, which is gonna be transform. This shouldn't really be tab, and the mesh, which is gonna be this kind of mesh, right? So this should be transform. Well, inverse transform. I have to see what that means. Sec inverse transform. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe we can copy this. So it's like, oh shit. So it's like, maybe like this. And we can like just call to that. So it's whatever. I don't really care about this function because it's let's just say, in debug mode. So to wireframe mesh, right? I forgot what I wanted to actually do. So like, probably would be more efficient to build a wireframe mesh, but wouldn't it be maybe easier to just build it with Gizmo's lines, maybe? I mean, it would be the same thing, but let's do it with Gizmo's lines, why not? So, display agent path, display navmesh, because I don't really care about this being efficient or not. Display navmesh. Okay, I guess we're gonna need both of them. Alright, both of these things. See, like, I'm really curious. Here it did inverse transform on each point, which is interesting. I mean, I have no idea. Anyway, I guess let's do a for loop over all of, so for transform navmesh. I guess here should be navmesh like this, probably it makes it easier. In queue navmesh dot iter, and I guess we can take the vertices, we can take the polygons, and and use them to draw stuff. I would assume we need to go to the polygons maybe, and I see that polygons have vertices. Or what is this thing? It's a vec of view 32. So these are indices. Okay, fair enough. So I mean, I have an idea. So for polygon navmesh.polygons, right, for each polygon that we have, then for each, I mean, here I would like to have for each 2 vertices of a polygon, but we can do this kind of range, right? So for I in this thing, my god, polygon, okay, so we range over that thing, and maybe I would do -1 at the end. Oh, actually, yeah, makes sense. So we need these 2 things. Let's call them start. Right, this would be the start, this would be the end. Let's see. Oh, I missed this. Okay. So we have the start index, end index. I think would be enough to just say that start and end vertices, you know, we take them. Although maybe it makes sense to convert, well, I mean, let's see if it's gonna work. First of all, start is equal to navmesh at vertices, and we choose the start one. So this is a vec with what? As u size, or what not. So it's a vertex. Okay, start dot, like, what does a vertex have? Let's try to see what a vertex is. It has coordinates and the neighboring polygons, or whatever. So I only care about coordinates, right? So let's say dot chords. Then maybe we can extend with 0, 0, index zy. And now, since we have the transform, we might as well just do something like this. Right, so let start is equal transform. I mean, like this. And we do the same thing for end. Let's see if it's gonna work. Right. So we have 2 points. we should be able to draw a line between them. Let's do it purple. I mean, sure. Gizmos. Okay, perfect. Interestingly enough, seems to just compile. Oh my fucking god, dude, it's too much. Like, I think we are, breaking the laws of physics or something. Everything runs first try. I mean, maybe it's because we are using Rust. Yeah, like everything looks good. And as I said, I don't really care about, gizmos are pretty slow in my experience, so. Okay, fair enough. So let's see, let's try to remove the thing. And maybe let's try to add obstacles and shit, right? So I guess for that one, let's do like interactive branch, which is like the latest one I saw. And this is the code that does some stuff like no, I saw it's called, well, I guess it's not there. It's like triangulation. Let's see if we find anything. I just renamed it. Okay. From edge and from edge with obstacles. This would be interesting. So it's like triangulation has this add obstacle, which would be interesting. Right. So I guess that's all we need to do, maybe? Like from edge. Instead of I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like instead of using vertices. So from outer edges. Like this, wouldn't work, I think, for most, like for like I don't think it works for any kind of like mesh. But let's see, so if we do vertices, and we so what if we don't use this thing? Maybe we call into. Okay, so for let me see. So it's as navmesh. Oh my god. Let's unwrap first. Let's see what happens. It doesn't like something here. The fuck is this shit? I mean, is there as slice? I remember being able to, because what do you want? A slice of type cannot be built since elements. Stupid. Okay, whatever. Okay, what? We don't use triangles, so that's one thing. Let's see. So, interestingly enough, it looks like this thing still works. The fuck? So can we just mute triangulation? Okay, I see it does like simplify. Can we add an obstacle at least? So triangulation, add obstacle, and let's do, so this is gonna be vec. Vec2, let's say 6 or something. There's like, well, I have no idea. So if it's maybe if I do like 6, 7, I don't know if that works. So vec2 new, then simplify, then this thing, I don't know what delta is. Let's do that. Let's see if we are gonna have a gap. Hopefully it's like a triangle or something. Holy shit, I mean it works at some extent. Like this is the gap, right? Like a triangle. See, and like the character goes around the, which is crazy. I mean it just everything fucking worked first try. Huh. I mean, would you believe it? See, if I click inside, it doesn't want to go inside. Oh, this is pretty cool. Okay, now the only thing is to somehow, let's see what we can do next. Because what's interesting is that we don't really need the triangles. I mean, I'd say that we have to save this thing because we are gonna add obstacles at the runtime. So let's see here. So it created this navmesh, right? But when do we call to add obstacle? Don't fucking call to add obstacle. And that's what I find really weird. Where do you call to add obstacle? Not here, not here. And how does this work then? The fuck? Wait, display? Oh, display path. Okay, whatever. I mean, these are like materials and stuff. It's not important, but I thought maybe in helpers or something, but it's not. In UI I saw something about obstacles, like add random obstacles. But I mean, this just adds the obstacle, so I don't see it imported from util, but maybe it used it to like yeah, like I don't get where the fuck it is. Instead of build navmesh, I mean, maybe it makes sense because this is update, it has obstacles, it has the meshes and whatnot. So you'd say that something should happen here with obstacle, but the fuck, it's just displaying the number of obstacles. This shit's so dumb. It's so hard to find the... Ooh. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, I'm missing something, but whatever. Yeah, like what could be? Literally have no idea. Maybe in here, like something with obstacle. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. So, obstacles. No idea, honestly. Because surely it's not something in here. Updater. Oh. It's something in here. This is cooked. So I guess it's part of the library itself, is not only in the examples. I mean, sure, fine, but okay, fair enough, whatever. Build mesh. I mean, maybe would it make sense to do it in the navmesh plugin, or does it not make sense? Like, what if it depends on the obstacle and shit? You know, it looks maybe like something. Obstacle AABBs. Obstacle get polygon. It's interesting. Actually I wanted to see obstacle source, the structure. Oh, I'm splitting just the trait. Fair enough. No, maybe it makes sense. Right, like it's a trait for obstacles and it returns a polygon, like the points around the obstacle basically. And this thing is done for AABB, whatever. Like this is how you would get polygon for an AABB. Well, I guess it depends on what other stuff we have, because I don't know what AABB. Anyway, I mean, maybe it makes sense, right? Could be interesting. Mesh. Okay. So yeah, I guess the question is, triangulation settings. So let's say we keep triangulation. Why not? I mean, even having settings could be interesting. I don't know what zut, whatever means. You know, makes sense to keep. Then this thing, okay, whatever. Let's say we'll keep it. So add obstacle. Sure. Wait, am I? The fuck? So this would be like the transform of the thing and the transform of the mesh probably, but yeah, I'm curious why it's not using the global transform for the mesh, but you know, good question. I mean, what's I want to say that what's interesting is here this thing worked. but you know, we didn't, like when we spawn the plane, we would have like transform identity, right? But what if we do like with rotation from Euler XYZ, and then we say 0 for the moment. What if we rotate it on the y-axis 45? Is it degrees or radians? Radians. So let's do 1 radian. I'm curious if it's still gonna work. I mean, almost. Oh no, it's something's cooked. Okay, obviously it doesn't work anymore, right? So I feel like it could be a good idea to do random stuff like this on the transform, just to make sure that it's not working because it's in 0, 0 with translation. I don't know why I forget typing new. Well, 30 is too much, let's do 5. Or I guess 4. Yeah, so something kind of broke, right? So maybe it actually is that we need to use the inverse transform. The funny situation. So inverse, I just need this function. Somehow, okay. Now I'm gonna say it's gonna be here. Transform. Okay. And we have display path. So do we need what do you want, a reference or what? Wait, what the fuck? Oh, it's a global transform. Fuck. Okay, whatever, I mean, I guess now we found out that it didn't work first try. Yikes. but you know, it still was pretty close to being first try, so whatever. How is this thing used? No, inverse. Transform point. So inverse transform, if you do transform point on it, huh. So there's something wrong on also when we compute the vertices. Fuck. But this one I copied from there, so I'd say that it is what it is. But maybe the problem is that this, fuck. Is that this is like only from a mesh, but shouldn't matter honestly. So it's like the mesh, it is what it is. I'm not sure where to start honestly. Fair enough. I mean, I think that these are like that. Okay, so we have the dude, right? When do we update the dude's transform? So you just say translation is equal to position. I don't think it should be just the position. I think we also need the navmesh for this thing. When we update the dude's transform, like real transform. Okay, let's go back here. So the navmesh is computed from the mesh itself, so it's fine. I don't see any issues with it. Right, even this stuff, whatever. Then here when we display the path, right, we say something like the original position is inverse transform, and we transform this point with an inverse transform. Is just sliding it back and the rotation back, so it's like if here we rotate it with 1, we rotate it back, and here it's the translation in reverse for each point. That's a good question. Does it? I mean, because it doesn't seem to work regardless, like it can go out of bounds. Right, but I guess that's maybe we have to also transform the target. But you know what's strange is that wait, the character moves towards the target, but it looks like the plane is somehow shifted. Yeah, we might have to also transform. But honestly, I don't know why you need inverse transform for this. And maybe that's the only thing I don't get. Right, like why would you inverse the transform? No fucking clue. And here with draw cursor and click, sure, like the cursor should be displayed like that, but when we add the target point, I don't think it's X, Z, and that's it. I think it should be invert, like transformed at least. So maybe we take the transform of the navmesh, and if we apply the transform, we should get the point in the navmesh, right? But I don't really want to transform the point, because it's like the point is where I point the mouse. That's where I want the dude to move. Right. Yeah, I mean, I was right about the first try thing. Jesus. Okay, I mean, let's start over. Let's start from where we put the point on the navmesh. Right. So we have an XZ coordinate. Or, you know, I guess the first things first would be the dude's transform. So as I said, the position we cannot really just take the position. We have to take this position and apply some transform. And I think, okay, fine, maybe it makes a bit more sense why, like when you use inverse, like maybe we use inverse when we want to convert from the navmesh space to the world space, right? And we use the transform itself when we want to convert from world space to navmesh space. So because if we take a look at how it is right now, you can see that the player is at 0,0 in world, but 0,0 for the plane is somewhere here, right, where it moved right now. So I'd say, yeah, we need the inverse transform here. So for like, can we make it easier for the user of navmesh? I don't know, to be honest, right now, so let's just not worry about it. So I need this, and I also need a transform of the navmesh. So we have the dudes, the navmesh, have this thing, and I think we also want the navmesh parent. Okay, navmesh parent. Okay, get, and we try to get a parent, right, like this. Oh, if let some, or is it with okay? It's with okay. I overrode the other one, so so this is the transform, and would be really cool if you could just have this as an impul on transform, but it is what it is. So can we make a trait inverse transform? And this thing takes a self and returns a self. Like it's but am I stupid? Oh, it's FN. Okay, so it should be like a pub trait. Right, like I could do this, I think. No, I mean, I'm really surprised that transform doesn't have an inverse. do we have like inverse? You know, like this, usually having the inverse of a transform is something that you need quite a lot, so I'm surprised that we don't have it. Like, I'm pretty sure yeah, whatever. Maybe it's not there, so. And we could input this for transform, right? And this way, so this should be self. Right, I don't know if inline, whatever. But I would probably move this thing into something like utils. I don't know right now what's going to be in utils, but yeah. Go to examples. This is what I would think. So navmesh transform dot inverse, and okay, actually like inverse why does it not show any errors? Okay, so transform point, and let's see if now the dude is gonna be in the center, but I forgot it's navmesh. Okay, so let's just remove all of this for now, and let's see if the dude is gonna be in the center of the mesh. Fuck. Okay, so it's like merging queries and whatnot. This would be easiest without navmesh. Is mainly, I think, because if you have mutable transform multiple times, or like mutable something which repeats, then you have to say like, okay, this is with navmesh, this is without navmesh, to make it more obvious that they are not going to intersect. Sure, yeah, so it is not in the center. Who would have guessed? Okay, so if we do not inverse the transform, like what if we just use the transforms as it is? It's in the center, so that's why I don't it's in the center, right? Okay. Huh. Interesting. But at least it was in the center, right? When we open this up, it looks like it's in the... So that's why it's weird why we need inverse transform. Because I mean, let's imagine this. We have the navmesh transform, right? With some rotation, some scale, some translation. And we have a point which we consider it being like the child. Like this would be like a child on this component or on this entity. So to get a global transform of the child, usually multiply with the transform. You don't do like inverse. That's why it's a bit strange to me. But sure, whatever, like even if I click somewhere, the point that I used there, it's not correct. So let's say this is the target, right? So we have a point. This point is in global coordinates. Let me just add the QNavMesh above our dudes. And let's say we have entity and navmesh parent. So we have our dude, our navmesh, or I guess navmesh parent. Okay, let's transform. Or I guess like this. Again, it's okay. So in this case, should I do, like, let's imagine that now the point is in global coordinates and we want to convert it to the navmesh. So I'd say that here we need to inverse. Like we want to take the point from world and then use it on the mesh. So I'd say that's where we need to invert. Huh. Didn't really work. Strange. And what if we just transform the point? What happens then? Still not working. But I would still say that inverse is the way to go. Okay, let's think again. So, you know, we have the position of the dude, and like the position is gonna be in like relative to the navmesh. So like this is required. We cannot do something else rather than just this. Like this is the only way to do it. To convert it from like the local coordinates to our global ones, we have like we cannot do it in another way. This is the only way. We have to transform the point with the navmesh transform. So it is what it is. Now it's interesting. Sure, I guess only translation is important. But I mean, okay, this is the only way to do it, right? I don't see another way to convert from like an agent being on the mesh to an agent being visible in the world. Like this is the only way to do it. It's like I don't see another option for us other than this. So the translation of the agent or of the player, dude, whatever we call it, is gonna be the mesh position transformed with the mesh transform. I don't see another way. Then when we click somewhere in the world, right, I click somewhere, I want to take that position where we click that, so it's like coordinate on the XZ plane. I want to inverse transform, so like instead of say it should be, this should convert it to being locally to the mesh, so it makes sense, I think. So like I don't see another way to do this kind of stuff. Now when I draw these lines, I draw them kind of in the world coordinates, right? So let's say I take a position. Clearly I want to use the transform for the position. I don't want to use the inverse transform. So I guess that's that for this one. And when I want to display the navmesh, again it's the same issue. So all of this should be fine. Then why it's not working? Fucking yikes. I mean, you know, we added some stuff, but this is crazy. I see being bad at math is so annoying. I mean, I'm just kidding, it's just that. Okay, so I clicked here, right? So does it look both rotated and shifted? Because that's how I feel about this. So if I go it's like the position that I add is for some reason rotated and moved. So what the fuck? But oh, okay, yeah, I mean it actually is though. Right, like I clicked here, see, like clearly that's the case, right? Should be both. I don't know how to debug this. Yeah, I don't like that the point is not one-to-one with the navmesh coordinates, right? That's the issue that I have. And maybe it's also, let me check if with, oh, so that's fine, right? So I would have to click somewhere, like, huh. Like this stuff is at the right coordinate or something, but where I draw the thing, it's not right. Yeah, I feel like it's off by one error in some planes and I cannot find it. Now I'm even questioning myself, is it even possible to have it? Like all I want is when I click in some point, the target is actually where I clicked with a mouse. So like this crap. So I need to, man, that's so scuffed. Like this point. So I take the point where I clicked, obviously, and I transform it with the inverse. But it seems like it's not working properly for some stupid reason. Yeah, honestly, I don't know, because sure, like all of these work just like this by using the transform. But Okay, let's remove the rotation. Maybe it's gonna make it easier to spot, right? Maybe the rotation is too much, like I went overboard with it. So this is just translation. I mean, so it has something to do with the rotation. Let's check again. Is it in the center? And it's in the center. And for example, if I do not do that, it's gonna be scuffed, I would assume. Yeah, so it's scuffed. Okay, perfect. So then it has to do something with the rotation. But I don't know how that makes sense. Let's try to have a rotation only. But I would say that rotation only is fine because it's gonna be just rotated, so it's not gonna be an issue. So it starts to be an issue when we have both of them. Damn. And honestly, I don't know why this happens. But like, the guy works, but it's I mean, it goes around the obstacles, that's fine, that's pretty cool, but yeah, I don't know how to make it work. Damn it. Because, yeah, I have no idea. Fuck. No freaking idea. Like, these things look correct. Let me just put exe here instead of here. That's just so I can, because if I do this thing, right, and to be honest, I don't remember how it was. Oh, it's like, goes crazy. Okay. Yeah, like, I don't know. But, I mean, whatever. Let's just remove rotation. Damn, I have to figure out why this happens because it's not good. But clearly the implementation of the plugin is good. It's fine because let's just say it's in 2D in the navmesh space. nothing really works with transforms, you know, except for the debug plugin, which, I mean, I don't care if it doesn't work, as long as it's at least somewhat working. But yeah, like, this kind of sucks though. But I mean, displaying all of these things was fine, right? Displaying all this crap is fine. It's just that when we take the input from the mouse and we put it on the navmesh, that's where it's cooked, because the player position is fine, all of these are displayed nicely, so that's the only problem. I don't know how to fix it. Like, maybe it's something to draw on the paper and just try to figure out, because no idea. You know, this seems to be working, I mean, at least. But yeah, see, like, it works. So I have to figure out why, but other time. So now I guess, yeah, I wasted too much time on this shit ass problem. So maybe we'll try to do like real obstacles using this trait next time. But, and I mean, let me just also remove the translation. We don't really need it. Let's see if it still works. Question mark. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like it's still working, right? So we have like these obstacles now. We can make it bigger, just for the example. So let's do 5, 8. Okay, so it's like if I try to go here, it's gonna go around this triangle, which is the obstacle. But I mean, as you can see, it's not gonna have like a width. It goes straight to this point. So maybe that's also something that we can look into, how to add player width to pathfinding. And it would be cool to have, you know, characters with different widths, so not only one, like bigger ones, smaller ones. Okay, and the other thing is to actually have some objects that we can place randomly and they form obstacles. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got. So see you in the next one.